Hey y'all, so today I am back to working in our guest room that we are trying to get finished so that we can move on to either the office or the bathroom. We haven't decided which one we're going to do next, but one or the other. And you saw Tommy, or some of you saw Tommy. We completely gutted this guest room. Tommy put up new sheetrock. We did new insulation, of course, new wiring. Because it only had like 2 outlets for the whole room, I believe. So then he did the sheetrock. He textured the sheetrock because we texture down here in Texas. And what else did he do? Oh, we replaced both windows in there because it had these little prison windows in there that I could put my chin on the windowsill. They were that high up. So we have normal windows in there now. So now I need to paint the walls that he textured, and I'm going to be using a Glidden Satin Zero VOC paint. That's volatile organic compounds, which is what makes it the strong paint smell in your house. I use zero VOC paint, so we don't have to deal with that. The color is neutral wheat. If you decide you want to use this color for some reason, just go up to the counter at Home Depot and tell them you want neutral wheat, because they don't have any of the little samples. It's not, they used to, and I tried to get a fresh one because mine's looking pretty raggedy, and they didn't have any more. But I just told him I wanted neutral wheat. He entered it into his computer, and that was that. So that's what all the other rooms in my house that I've done have been painted. So I want to stick with the same color. I am not a fan of white. After I've painted the walls, there's 3 walls that have to be painted, then I am going to start on a German Schmear on the faux brick wall that you saw Tommy put up in our last video. After I finish the German Schmear, then I'm going to seal it with a polyacrylic. I haven't gotten the polyacrylic yet, so this is either going to be a 2-part video, or you just won't ever see me do the polyacrylic. Haven't decided yet. I may wait to post it once I've gotten the polyacrylic to seal it. That's probably what I'll do. But anyway, so let me show you real quick the before of the guest room. Here you go. It's kind of dark in here. And then I will show you the after when I am done painting the walls. And then we'll get started on the German Schmear. And here it is after I have painted the walls using the Glidden Natural Wheat. Kind of dark in here. Still have a lot to do, but at least the paint is done. Not worried about the ceiling because it's going to be covered in wood planks. So on to the next step in this process. Alright, so I'm ready to get started. This is what I'm using. It's an all-purpose joint compound we had left over from one of our other projects. So let's get started. I've already got some put in my mud pan, as you can see, and I've only done this twice before, and I'm going to do it a little bit differently. Did I just get mud in my hair? Oh well, I'm fixing to put my hair up anyway. But I've only done this twice before on a smaller scale, and I'm going to do it a little bit differently this time. But basically, you're just going to smear it on there, but I'll show you in a little small space, and then the rest is going to be a time lapse because you don't want to sit and watch me do this for an hour, which is about how long it's going to take me, give or take, depending on how many times I stop and run do something else. So, and I'll also show you how I did the joint so that that's all covered up. So let's get started over here. So you just take your drywall compound and you're going to smear it on there. You can put it as thick as you want. You don't have to go in one direction. This is not perfection. This is to make it look old, so you want it to be imperfect. If If you want 100% coverage on the grout lines, then take your finger and do stuff like this. That's how you get 100% coverage on your grout lines. So you'll need a rag to make sure that you get all that done. I do not want 100% coverage on my grout lines. I want some of my grout to show. So I'm just gonna put this on time lapse now, and y'all can watch me get this part done. Alright, so I officially finished one whole panel. Now, if you feel like you got too heavy-handed in areas after it's dried, or you weren't heavy enough, you can come back with a sanding block and sand some off, or you can add more mud. It's kind of dark in here as usual, but this is such a hot room because of that south and that west wall that I can't wait to get the blinds up on here to block some of that sun. The kitty's coming to check out my work apparently. I used an entire tray of mud on one panel, just to give you an idea of how much mud I'm using. So now I'm going to show you, and now there's not really showing you anything, it's the same thing, but right here, you okay, kitty? Right here where the panels join is what I'm going to do next. And it's pretty much the same thing. Just put a little thicker mud in there. Alright, so just continue to do what you've been doing. Just shove that, push that down in there. if you've ever actually looked at an old brick building, it's not perfect. It's not even. It has imperfections. So make sure, if you're going for the old world look, which is what I'm doing, to look like something you might see, I don't know, in like New Orleans, for example, then you don't want to go for perfection. So we're not worried about everything being perfectly even and the same color. We want those imperfections. There you go. You can't even, once it's dry, you won't even be able to tell that we joined them right here. So that's why it's important to cut off all those little pieces so that it joins together and you don't see a big seam going up like you see in so many when people do this. We do not want the seam. So back to the time lapse. All right, well, the wall is done. It still needs to dry. I'm gonna let it dry for about 48 hours before I do anything else to it, just to make sure I don't need to touch up anything, maybe sand some here and there. I don't want to put my top coat on until I'm sure that I am happy with the way it looks. So let me show you. Here you go. Again, sorry it's dark. Here, let me turn the light on. That didn't help. But anyway, so here's the wall. This I touched up, so it's still wet. And I'm probably gonna touch that crack up again, just because when you have an actual crack like that, the drywall compound shrinks. So I'll be touching that up one more time. Here's this side. Did all around the electrical panel, which is sitting right there, and Tommy's gonna paint it white. I went ahead and hung these up because I want to see how I feel about them. I need to decide if I'm gonna paint them black, paint them white, or leave them the dark brown that they already are. So I kind of like to let things just kind of simmer for a while before I make a final decision. Let me show you what the wall looks close up if we can see. So you can see all the little imperfections that I purposely did. Left some spots like this on purpose. I think it just gives the wall more character. I'm gonna have to either touch up the paint where I got little bit on there, or see if it'll just rub off once it's all dry. It won't be hard to cover. And that's the some screw holes I found that we never put spackle in, so I went ahead and filled those in, and I'll have to paint that. But yeah, I am very happy with the progress in this room. Even got the TV hung back up. The electrical doesn't work on that one yet, but Tommy will get it all hooked up eventually. Once all this is dry, I'll move the bed back where it belongs, get everything put back. But this is the progress on the guest room. Remember, we're empty nesters. This would be our kids' room, but we don't have any kids still at home. Still got to do the ceiling, and the floor will be repainted. The gray no longer goes in this room, so I'll be cleaning the floor up and then painting it. Haven't decided what color. So let me know what you guys think about the faux brick wall in the comment section. So next up, Tommy's going to be putting the cedar trim around the windows, and then he will be doing the blinds, which you have to cut yourself. It's a much cheaper version of the blinds that they cut for you at Lowe's, but you can buy them and cut them to fit the window. So we already have a video about that, but people complain that we left parts out when we were showing how to do it. So we're going to do another one to show people how to do it. So maybe we'll get less complaints, but this is YouTube, and some people just like to complain. So anyway, thank you guys for watching. I hope this video is somehow helpful for you, or at least entertaining. And if you haven't already, please subscribe.